Hello folks. So in this video I wanted to talk about remote work and like working from home or working from anywhere versus say working from office and all, right? There are a lot of what do you say nuances to this, a lot of intricate stuff over here. First off, I'll start off by saying that you know work from office is not going to go anywhere, I think, for the time being, right? I don't know for how long it'll stay, but it'll stay for quite some time, I think. Even for jobs that don't require you to be in the office. For example, you have a laptop and you do all your work in the laptop. You can very well do your work from home or from anywhere, but it doesn't matter. There will still be a lot of people, a lot of companies that will want to work from office, right? So first things first, though a lot of people think that hey, a lot of these companies should have work from home and whatnot. The thing is this, right? Like, let's say I'm a software engineer, so if I'm working from home, the tricky thing is, let's say I need internet usually, right? So almost every job nowadays requires internet, and you need to be connected to some system, and you need to just say check out Google to learn something and whatnot. So now, if your internet doesn't work, right now, you'll probably have to call some internet service provider, and even if you're in like a urban city, posh area and whatnot, it's possible that your internet is not working, right? Now you'll probably start using your mobile network and whatnot, right? Um, it's unnecessary. If you're in the office, it provides you all the infrastructure like internet and everything, right? And the like electricity and everything, so there's no possibility of the power or internet going off. And if it does, imagine you are in an office, right? The office caters to not just you, probably multiple people depending on the size of the company and the office, right? Like, I work in a pretty big company where the company is housing say around 4,000 to 5,000 people in the office, and it's trying to provide internet and electricity and all the resources that one needs to actually function in an office, in a official environment, in an organization. It will provide it all, right? And it will support them, right? If there's an issue, you will be supported, right? But if you're in your house, right, your house office or whatever, or you're outside in a vacation, right? Now, who is going to actually support you when you don't have internet, or when your laptop doesn't work suddenly for some reason, or your power goes off and you don't have enough charge? I mean, let's just assume that you do have some power bank of sorts to even power up your laptop, right? Or you have some sort of like power backup and whatnot. Still, like, how long will it hold, right? Depending on the weather you are in. Let's say it's actually raining a lot and there's a lot of power cuts happening and your electricity is not available. Well, in an office, they'll ensure that electricity is available. They'll have so much power in their power backup, and they'll have so much support to ensure that your power backup works. And if it doesn't, they are an enterprise, they are a company, so they'll ensure that they can call up someone and be like, dude, we are an office, this thing that doesn't work, and you said you will provide us enterprise support, company level professional support, come and get this done, right? Same thing for internet, right? You're working from your office, or you're from some mountain or whatever. You can't really call up anyone and be like, see, I work in a such and such job, internet is very important for me, come and fix my internet. Well, the guy will be like, well, you only pay so much to me per month, why do I have to actually come at express service, provide express support, really fast support? Why do I have to do that, right? For one single person, right? Like, you're not paying lots and lots of money, but the company is actually paying lots and lots of money, right? So infrastructure is an important thing for many people for today to work. So you will have to really ensure that your internet, your power supply and all of it is taken care of. And you have, let's say, whiteboards and whatnot, physical whiteboards, let's say you need them, instead of some virtual whiteboard that you use on your Zoom meeting calls or Google Meet calls or whatever, right? So a lot of times you do require a whiteboard to actually draw and show something, right? A lot of people do use virtual whiteboards, but then I know a lot of people who love to use actual physical whiteboards, right? Even if you assume that you have the best office in the world and you are like well off, you're wealthy, you're rich and whatnot, you have the best office, home office or whatever, and you have the best internet, and it cannot go wrong, and if it goes wrong, you have people to support you, and you have IT people to help you, and you have, say, power supply and whatnot. Even then, going to the office has its own pros and cons, like pros mostly, uh, from what I can see in like today's world, and like what are the problems with the remote work. But then, of course, remote work has its own pros, though it may have its own cons, and similar to how work from office has its own cons, right? So let's talk about some of the remote work pros and cons, right? So remote work, I actually wrote a post on this. I'm just going to actually skim through it and ensure that I cover it all. So remote work, yeah, it has pros and cons, right? So not all are well versed in remote work, by the way. So it's not simply just you sit away from office, you sit in some remote location, let's say your house or some vacation, you go to some mountain or whatever, or you go to any country and then you work. Well, that's not the only thing about remote work. That's just the definition probably, right? But to actually make remote work and for remote work to be successful, there's a lot of things actually, right? So it's a whole different ball game to actually work remotely. So you require actually great communication skills, right? Great, amazing communication skills, right? Because in remote work, you're actually trying to do a lot of typing, and you're also trying to do a lot of talking over the internet, and you have to have really good communication skills, and of course you have to have a really good internet, like I spoke of before. So you have to be able to communicate your ideas really well, right? Especially in the language that they're comfortable in, and the other person should also be able to understand that language, by the way. So many people across the world, they have communication issues, even if they're talking in the language that is like their own native language. They find it hard to communicate what they're thinking, what they want to say and whatnot, right? Or what they want to communicate properly. They might understand what they want to say, but they might not be able to say it, right? They might not be able to communicate it in a really well manner, right? So even if it's like a different language, let's say it's okay, I mean that's a different concept, but even in their own language they might find it hard. And if it's a different language, let's say for example my native language is actually Tamil, which is actually an Indian language, right? And there are a lot of dialects also, by the way, in Tamil, right? And I need to speak in English, let's say, to my colleagues because they don't understand Tamil, right? They understand Hindi, which is a different Indian language, right? So, I'll have to know, and I get to know and learn English, and only if I understand and get to know and use English really well, not just to actually talk, but also to write and read and understand also, right? To listen and understand. It's not just talk, it's also like, it's not just speaking, it's also about written communication skills, reading and then listening, right? So all of these are important in communication, right? In a language, right? So even though there are many great communication tools like translation tools, Google Translate, Babylon Translate and whatnot, well, a lot of things still actually are lost in translation and whatnot, right? Especially when you have, let's say, when I'm trying to talk something in Tamil, but then the person will not understand. So I try to type this out in Tamil, and let's say I don't know how to type Tamil. I just know to talk Tamil and understand Tamil, listen to Tamil and whatnot, and probably even read a bit. I actually know how to read and all. I know to write also, but then let's say I'm not well versed in writing and reading, but I'm well versed in talking and listening, right? So then, in fact, that's my native language. It's actually a shame that I don't know. That's because I actually learned a different language in school, and my medium of learning was English. So I never learned my native language officially. I learned it just unofficially myself, right? Through with my house, in my house, talking and whatnot, and also outside and all, right? So yeah, I mean, I go and type in Tamil, or I transliterate. Basically, I write Tamil using English alphabets, and then I translate it into English, let's say, and imagine how well that will actually get translated to, right? So yeah, it's important for me to understand the nuances of the language, because I try to tell something in Tamil, and imagine this, there's also written versus spoken, right? In written language and spoken language, there is a thing about tone, right? When you talk, you can actually tell the same sentence in different tones, right? And different dialects and all that, right? Let's just leave dialect for now. Different tone, right? when you talk in a different tone, you can understand the person's emotions, right? But then in written language, and when you read, the tone is only from the words that you get actually. So it's important on what words you use, right? So even though there are many great communication tools, translation tools, and all that, well, all the services and whatnot, it might not help. And many people are not native English speakers, right? And English is like the most common, one of the most spoken languages, and is also popular in like, say, even in content, like content creation, and all. Like the amount of content that's on the internet, a lot of it is in English, right? And a lot of people talk and use English and write in English and read English and whatnot, and listen in English, because English is one of the most, like, commonly used languages to actually communicate when the native languages don't match, right? So people use English as the intermediate language, right? So which you can use to actually communicate, right? So it's really popular, right? And even in content, like I said, content creation and how people consume content in the form of text, in the form of videos, audio, everything, English is really popular, right? So also English is used to communicate often than like communicate in native language of the person. So because, well, a lot of people might not understand the native language of the person, right? So people will use something like English, which is actually common, and a lot of people use it to learn, so that you can actually communicate with someone from a different country, say from a different continent, right? So just a moment, let me actually charge up my phone.